Should we like come up with like a unique way of introducing it, or do you just want to wing it?
Hi.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast, Circus of Mystery podcast. My name is Micah. I'm here with
Morgan.
And
Billy.
Antoine. With Morgan and Antoine. And today we're going to be reading a spooky, it's a Reddit post, but it's a good story. It's a somewhat short story. It's more than 3 words, so it's a little longer than I'm used to. But it was posted on Scary Stories subreddit by Joshua Andrew 1985, 3 years ago. So it was on the top of the list.
1985 wasn't 3 years ago.
Okay, that Joshua, we just stole your story.
No, it was posted 3 years ago. All right.
Stole. We're stealing from you.
Yes, it's ours now. Legally, it's not. But anyway, the title is "This Is Not a Suicide Note," and I actually read
It's
this.
a grocery list.
Sure.
Eggs. No.
Before we read it though, last night, because I was leaving work late last night, I got out at like 11:45, so it was really late, and I look across the parking lot, and it was like, you ever have that moment where you feel like you're in a movie? Like you can feel people watching you.
Yeah, like that one time I was in a movie.
Like you're in a movie. I don't know. Shut up. But like I felt like, because I was loading up the trunk of my car with all this stuff from work, and I look across the parking lot, and way across the parking lot is this dude standing there in a trench coat and a top hat, just staring at me.
I saw him when I left. I saw him. He was standing by Jamba Juice.
Yeah,
he was in a what do you call it? Punk? What is it?
Steampunk?
Steampunk outfit.
Was he? Okay, because
Yeah.
so from across the parking lot, I look out and there's this dude just standing there. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm about to
and
die.
He was like on his phone. I'm like, what the fuck?
Wait, so you're telling me you drove past The Undertaker by Jamba Juice?
Yes, exactly. Well, when I was loading up, I kept a sword with me just in case. Just
The Undertaker, if he lived in his mom's basement.
Do you know who that is?
No.
He's the wrestler. You know the meme of like the guy who like stands up and like has,
Oh.
like, the eyes?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's The Undertaker. He wore like this dress and like this hat.
Yeah, he's funky.
Funky monkey.
He was like Michael Myers but a wrestler.
But cool. He's like Michael Jackson, but a wrestler.
Not Michael.
Ow!
No, Mike Myers is the actor. Michael Myers is the...
Is the actor Mike Myers?
Yeah, it's
the
Mike
actor
Myers.
from
Austin Powers.
Oh, I thought the actor for Michael Myers was Mike Myers, and I was about to be
Don't
really
get
happy.
it.
Isn't he
He's
in
Shrek.
Spaceballs too, or is that someone else?
No,
Dark
it's Mel
Helmet?
Brooks.
Dark Helmet is Mel Brooks?
No, no. That's I don't know his name.
I'm Dark Helmet.
All right. Anyway, this is a kind of a long story, so I'm going to start reading it. You can interrupt me as you feel shut up.
Wait, was Mel Brooks yogurt?
Shut up. I'm reading
Yes,
the
he
story.
was.
Like he was also the Emperor, so he played
Yeah,
both.
he was both.
How many characters did he play in Spaceballs?
He made it. He can be whoever he wants.
Well, I know, but I'm trying to remember. Who was Lone Star?
That was a different guy. He was just like a
Lone Wolf? Lone Star?
Lone Star. Yeah.
All right. Shut up.
Oh, right, you have a story.
You said we could interrupt you whenever we want.
So the story
We have some
begins.
really cold burgers in the back.
Yeah, that's for later.
Shh. Listen.
Okay, go.
All right. So it starts like this. 3 months ago, I learned of my uncle's passing. We weren't particularly close, but he left me one of his houses in his will. I was touched, but just wanted to sell it off. I'm a fairly new father of twin girls and didn't need another thing to manage right now.
Wait, is this a real story or is this fake?
This is a fake story.
So we can make fun of him, okay?
Yes. To speed up the process, I
Sounds like a
decided
real loser.
to travel across the country to live in the house until a sale was assured. My job just requires a laptop and phone, so I was approved to work remotely for the time being.
Oh! My thumb!
We are not going to get through this.
Dude, I was watching you. You literally didn't move at all, and you just went.
You didn't hear the crack?
No.
I cracked my thumb. It hurts. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Unfortunately, my wife had to stay at her job, so I had to come alone. At first, I treated it as a mini vacation. I had hoped it would only last a week, but the process was more involved than I thought. I had a realtor taking care of most things, but after a month, I'm still here. I noticed things going wrong right away. Stuff was never where I last placed it. I'd see shadows out of the corner of my eye. I've lost track of time constantly. I thought it was caused by stress, loneliness, except for the few times the realtor came by with prospective buyers. The house was the quietest place I had ever been in. Can I help you?
I'm too busy being respectful. Sorry.
Are you
Go ahead.
listening to what's happening?
He found pliers.
No, there's a realtor. So his uncle gave him the house, and he's living in the house to make sure that it's going to sell off, and weird stuff is happening.
Is this supposed to come off?
No, you ripped it off.
Shut up. The neighbor came by with a dog. You like dogs?
I love dogs.
You like dogs?
Yeah.
Okay, so shut up and listen. There's a dog. She was an elderly
Is it an
woman.
ugly dog though?
No, it's a golden retriever. It's a cute dog.
Okay.
I like the golden retrievers.
She was an elderly woman who explained that she had been dog sitting while my uncle was in the hospital. Now that I was here, she thought I should
Rip
take
uncle.
Buster the golden retriever.
Alright, what about a golden retriever? Wait,
This
like a revolver?
is a long
Did you say
story.
revolver somewhere in that sentence?
No.
I heard revolver. Okay.
This is a long story. We're not going to get through it.
Oh, okay. You should have took a shorter one.
I thought the neighbor might have been forgetful because she seemed to think my uncle had just passed last week. Either way, I fell in love with Buster and his...
I was checking how long it was You don't have to look everything I do and stop talking.
You're not listening!
I am listening.
Either way, I fell in love with Buster and his presence and was exactly what I needed.
Wait, so Buster's the dog.
Yes. I even thought it would be a tremendous present to bring home to my girls. I just hoped my wife would feel the same way. However, even the dog could tell something was wrong with the house.
The dog could sell.
Shut up. Buster accepted his new living arrangements pretty quickly, but would never willingly go upstairs. This was alright with me at the time. I thought it would make it easier to keep track of him. Then Buster disappeared.
Buster, if the dog dies, I'm leaving.
Literally 1 second he was standing right behind me. As I was opening the treat jar to give him a snack, my eyes left him for just a moment to put the jar back, and then he was gone. I ran through the whole house calling his name. The kitchen was connected to the living room. Hold on, because there were...
Just imagine, like, as soon as he sees the dog going, he's just full sprint around the house.
Buster!
Buster!
Buster! Buster! Alright. Dude, hang on, because this is about to describe the entire house in great detail.
Do you want to give us a summary of that?
Rooms are connected, and he went through them all. That's all you need to know.
Okay.
Is there a foyer?
I looked in every room and had to accept that somehow the dog made it outside, even though there was no doggy door and every door and window had been closed and locked. So I searched the surrounding neighborhood for about an hour before giving up. I was thinking about making flyers when I opened the front door and heard Buster scrambling towards me from the kitchen. I was ecstatic, of course, but I couldn't just wrap my head around how I could have missed him. I let Buster sleep in the bed with me that night. In hindsight, it was a huge mistake, but it made me feel better at the time.
It's like Coraline, you get sucked into another dimension.
Yep.
Where they're all...
Wait, rooms connected.
Yeah.
It's not Coraline, but I like you're thinking.
What if the dog was just like on the opposite side of the house the whole time?
What if the dog is secretly a mech robot?
Well, he
it's
looked
actually a
through the-
hamster controlling the dog.
He looked through the whole house and there was no dog.
Oh, and it can transform into a toaster.
Well, yeah, the mech robot can camouflage,
Yeah,
obviously,
obviously.
and shapeshift.
Like a toaster.
Okay. Things started picking up at work though, and I soon forgot all about this strangeness surrounding this house. Clients called me constantly, but we were getting a lot done, and I landed multiple large contracts in a row. I was working around the clock, but I knew I'd be due a promotion once I returned to the home office. Several times I'd get lost in a phone call or spreadsheet and suddenly find that it was nighttime. I'd be so absorbed with work that I would block out Buster whining for food or go outside. I started to set alarms to keep track, but I had too many important clients to slow down. I was
Clients? Oh, he's a realtor.
No,
What?
he's a contractor.
What's that?
Which means he contracts like people that work on houses and
What
stuff
does
like
contract mean?
that. Anyway, he's calling people about things. That's all you need to know.
I want to see the dog pull a gun.
I was on top of the world, but
What? I just heard dog do something.
I want to see the dog pull a gun on him. Buster, you haven't had any time for me.
Give me your credit card, Raggy.
when did it become raggy?
I don't know, Scooby-Doo's a talking dog.
Oh god. Okay. Anyway, I was on top of the world, but my health was starting to suffer. I'd forget to eat and even sleep sometimes. There was always something else to do or someone to talk to. I even got better at taking care of Buster, better than I was taking care of myself at least.
Yay.
Then my good mood ended with a bang. Buster did pull a gun.
Buster, no.
Literally, Buster was whining behind me as I finished another spreadsheet, and then he pulled a gun out and shot me in the head.
That's cool.
No. Then we both heard a door slam upstairs. For the first time since I brought him inside, Buster ran upstairs by himself. I almost called the cops, but I felt silly with the phone in my hand.
What a silly
I
man.
started to doubt I had heard anything at all. And if there were an intruder, surely Buster would have been making more noise. So I mustered all the courage I could manage and crept upstairs with frying pan as my weapon.
Oh, we're playing PUBG.
So he's got a frying pan. All right. It was dark upstairs, but enough moonlight was coming in from downstairs windows to make out Buster standing in front of the bathroom. I had purposefully closed every door when I last came through here, looking for the dog.
Standing up
But
right.
But the door was now wide open. The door's wide open. He comes up, the dog's sitting in front of a door that he had closed, now it's wide open.
He opened the door.
I flipped on the hallway light, but nothing happened. With no better ideas, I raised my frying pan high and walked slowly to the bathroom. There was no window in here, so I was pure darkness inside. I was terrified. Bizarrely, Buster just looked frozen. His tail stood straight up, and he just stood there, pointed towards the door.
Like
The whole time, my eyes had been getting used to the darkness, and the bathroom was too small for there to be anyone there without me noticing. I started to relax when I took a step forward into something sticky.
Come.
I
was waiting for
I
it.
was gonna try to avoid. Oh, I'm not using my pop filter.
I paused just to make sure. I suddenly realized that I had my cell phone in my pocket. I pulled it out and turned it on to cast some light on the floor. I immediately dropped it at the sight of bright, wet red liquid that surrounded my feet.
This broadcast is being interrupted by a quick intermission. And no, it is not sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
This episode is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. To shadow your raid legends.
This episode is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, part of a complete practice.
This is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Eat fresh.
Put that away.
I'm not gonna go.
This can hear you. I can see it spiking when you do that.
Wait, be quiet. Oh my god.
It's so good and salty.
It's already been 17 minutes and we have 2 sentences down in the story.
Hey, podcasts are long.
You missed your mouth there for a second.
There's like many testicles on that wall.
Oh, they look like monkey testicles, like chimpanzee testicles. Wait, let me show you a picture.
What? No. No. I don't want to see a picture of that.
Have you seen chimp testicles?
No. Why have you seen chimp testicles?
This is our intermission.
You know, just because everyone needs to see
Look
chimp
at that,
testes. Oh! He's just sitting there with his nutsack out. All right, are you ready to shush and listen?
Did you know that the part that you eat of a sea urchin, that orange part, are its gonads?
Oh.
They're pretty good.
All right, put your monkey testicles away.
Oh, okay, I'm ready. Shut up.
Antoine, family friend. Have
All right.
you guys ever seen monkey balls?
Anyways,
Let me show you a picture.
listen.
And now back to the thing we were doing before, whatever that was.
I fled the upstairs, then
All
this
right, enjoy
triggered
your
Buster to
meatballs
follow.
after
This time I had no trouble calling the police. Thankfully, there was already a patrol car nearby, so 2 officers arrived within a couple minutes. Their powerful flashlights cut through the darkness like knives, but they soon found nothing was wrong with the upstairs light. Something did appear to be wrong with my pipes, though, as they called out from above that the puddle was just rusty water. Because of their insistence, I climbed up the stairs again and clearly saw a muddy brown puddle in the bathroom. The banging must have been from a pipe breaking. Both cops had a laugh at my expense, but were otherwise understanding.
Loser.
Rooms that are connected?
Yeah, his name's what? Buster, right?
Buster Keaton.
Because of their insistence, I climbed the stairs and saw a muddy brown puddle in the bathroom. The banging must have been from a pipe breaking. Both cops had a laugh at my expense, but were otherwise understanding. They even gave me a number of a good plumber, though. My cell phone was ruined after it dropped, and left it in the puddle. I would have had to use the one on the landline in the kitchen from now on. I let them out and promised to call the number first thing in the morning. Yet, as exhausted as I was, I couldn't go to sleep over that excitement, so I stayed up to draft some more important documents for my company. Before I knew it, Buster had made another mess in the living room. I was dead tired and said something to Buster that I shouldn't have, and I did some things to him that I knew I really shouldn't have.
Oh.
Buster, no.
I decided to do something about the stress I had been under, and I spoke to my supervisor that same morning. To my surprise, they were happy to let me have the week off as a sort of mental vacation. Just like that, all my outstanding work was taken away. With nothing else to do, I tried to focus on Buster. I played games with him and fed him a bunch of treats to make up for my earlier neglect. Then I found the first message. I didn't notice it for some time since I had been avoiding the second floor.
Okay, let's recap. So, he's there with his dog, and he went up the stairs, and he saw his dog standing up. What was the dog doing?
The dog was not standing up. The dog was sitting there. The
The
door was open that he had closed. There was a bang earlier.
But
he
the
looked
dog's
down.
tail was straight up while it was sitting?
Oh no, he lost his dog. He went
He was
upstairs.
just
He found him in
standing
the
there.
bathroom.
I guess.
Yeah.
So he goes into the bathroom. He walks in the bathroom. There's like a sticky puddle on the floor. He thought it was blood, so he called the cops after running downstairs.
Oh, that's where the wee-woo happened. I didn't
Yeah.
connect the dots.
So they walked up. The cops came upstairs. They shined the flashlight, and they were like, "Hey, It's just rusty pipe water. You're fine. There's just the pipes breaking. Here's a plumber. Call him in the morning. And he was like, okay, I'll call the plumber. And then he got the week off work. So he doesn't have to work anymore. Okay? So he's helping Buster out. And this is where it starts to get good, so actually pay attention. I didn't notice it for some time, since I had been avoiding the second floor, but I realized that I hadn't actually called the plumber. Before doing so, I went upstairs to see if things had gotten any worse. Instead, I immediately saw a message written in red on the hallway. It read, "Losing your mind?" For a second, I kind of did. I was scared to death at the thought that someone had snuck into my apartment while I was sleeping there. Probably when I was sleeping. I won't bear repeating what I said or did right after. Let's just say I hadn't been any braver since the banging.
Did he just say, I didn't see it when I was sleeping there, probably because I was sleeping?
No.
That's what you said.
He said he thought someone snuck into his apartment probably while he was sleeping,
No,
which
but-
freaked him out that someone was sneaking in there while
What
he
you
was sleeping.
said, you were like, he was scared that someone snuck in while he was sleeping. Probably while he was sleeping. That's what you said.
Fine.
When he was sleeping.
Let me reread it. For a second, I kind of did. I was scared to death at the thought that I had...
You good there? Do you need a 5-minute pee-pee break? Or like some nap time?
We'll be right back after Micah's nap.
I was scared to death at the thought that someone had to have snuck into my house while I was there, probably when I was sleeping. I won't bear repeating everything I said or did right after. Let's just say I hadn't become any braver since the banging. Eventually, I unlocked my bathroom door and made my way into the kitchen with Buster leading the way. I called the police again. Those same 2 officers were able to show up, and then slowly we cleared every inch of the house, yet we found no one. Everything was locked, no sign of forced entry. The police actually took me seriously, something that bewildered me at the time, and admitted that this isn't the first house in the neighborhood to experience this. There had been a series of break-ins where nothing was stolen, but the police officers still offered to have a car sit outside for the night. Even though I took them up on this, I soon realized that I'd never get to sleep tonight in this house. So I called my only friend in town, and really in the whole state, an old college roommate who coincidentally lived 30 minutes away. He offered to pick me and Buster up in a few hours, so I busied myself with packing up my suitcase. I didn't know how long I would need, so I pretty much packed everything I had brought with me to the house in the first place. Antoine?
He packed up his house, everything he didn't need in the first place.
Put your phone away.
Put your cock away.
Oh, forgot about that.
Put your monkey nuts away, too.
My monkey nuts are, still on the monkey.
Oh. Put your monkey away.
Why
Stop
wouldn't
fondling
they?
his nuts. He offered.
Still on
Okay.
the monkey, don't
I left
worry.
my room to pick up some doggy toys when my friend called to say he was waiting outside. I decided to hang up the phone and meet him immediately. I needed the human company, and he could help me move my stuff. But the driveway was empty. There was no friend, no car. I called him back immediately, and he insisted he was
No
outside.
friends.
Is that the one thing you got?
I listened.
He's not real, so we can make fun of him.
No, so listen. He called a friend to come pick him up. The friend said that he was there.
Oh, this reminds me of the movie Smile. You didn't see it.
No, but there's another short story that I have I'm going to tell later that is Smile, I think might be based on or similar to it. Anyway, so he called his friend. His friend says he was there. He walked outside to the driveway. Friend isn't there. Okay? But the driveway is empty. There was no friend, no car. I called him back immediately, and he insisted he was outside. I listened to him get out of his car and walk up to the front door. He knocked, and I could hear the door open and an elderly woman greet him. My friend asked for my name and mentioned my uncle. The woman said she had never heard of either of us. After thanking her, my friend left and asked me if I had gotten all that. I told him I must have given him the wrong address. He rattled off the correct one and confirmed he was there. After asking him to wait and I left the house again, I walked out to the street and looked back at the numbers written on the curb and on the mailbox. Only there weren't any numbers, just a message, "Losing your mind?" on the curb, written in red.
No.
Oh, it was like that earlier.
Good job, you're following along.
Wait,
High five.
Where was it written?
It wasn't
Where
on
was
the
it
wall
written this
earlier.
time?
It was on the curb.
This time it was on the curb where the numbers for, like the house numbers are.
We once paid. There
Or it
was
says
this,
what house number you are.
Once was this like really fat guy that showed up at our house, and he was
Was it
going
you?
around. Yeah, it was me. He was going around. He's going around the neighborhood, like asking people like if they'd pay him to like paint their numbers like on the curb, and he would like he could
Oh.
like paint them like different things, like he could paint like a sunset or whatever on it. And we're just like, oh, we'll just do the normal one.
Oh, I thought I just
I didn't
walked up to you,
literally.
like,
It was literally the same exact thing that was there before, and then he costed us like.
Yeah, they did that for my family, but we didn't have one there before.
Oh.
Anyway, the temptation to leave right away was great. I
Also
could just
gave
start
him some
walking and
bar.
never stop. But I had to get my stuff, and more importantly, Buster. So I entered the house one last time. When I came back to the room, my suitcase was empty. Everything I had just spent the last hour packing up was back in its proper place. Despite how impossible this was, I focused on only one goal. We needed to leave. I put a leash on Buster and was shocked to see how haggard he was.
Whoa, I'm a Walmart winner?
Whoa.
Sorry. My email says that I've been chosen.
Why are you both on your phones? Get out of here. Listen to the story.
For some non-stick cookware. Ultimate non-stick cookware.
Oh, you need that. He needs that for the stickiness in the bathroom.
Yeah, no, for the pan.
Why would you put non-stick on a...
No,
it's
the pan.
So the
was-
blood doesn't stick to it when you murder
No, the
someone.
pan that he was waving around earlier.
But he said there's sticky stuff on the ground. Use the non-stick to unstick the stick, and then it's not a stick.
Despite how impossible this was, I focused on only one goal. We needed to leave. I put a leash on Buster and was shocked to see how haggard he was. I resolved to make it up to him when this was all over. I tried to leave out the front door like nothing was wrong, but I couldn't open it. The knob would turn freely, but the deadbolt wouldn't slide back. I was really scared now, but Buster's presence helped. I knelt down to give him a hug, and he gave me an idea while licking my face. Whatever was happening, it sure wasn't the result of a maniac hiding in my house. Still, I didn't know what forces were actually opposing me, so I walked to the backyard and said loudly, "Well, Buster, time for a little walk!" Yes?
I'm gonna go take a pee break. Please, I will hear you from the bathroom. Be a little louder.
The glass door slid open easily.
Yeah.
Are you actually getting the cookware?
Shut up. I don't know. It's Walmart.
Oh my god. Are you sure it's Walmart? That doesn't look like Walmart to me.
It's oh wait, zerowinder.com. Hey, Jacob.
That's not Walmart.
Jacob Morgan. Offer expires in 5 minutes and 15 seconds. Well, I don't care.
Oh, I got an email from Kurgerbing.
Your burger is now frozen.
I'm back.
Alright.
Did I wash my hands? Yes, I did.
Testing.
Testing.
Buster bounded out happily. I guess it had been a long time since I let him outside. I followed more tentatively and, for the first time, examined the backyard closely. There was an iron fence surrounding the yard, but another space in between the bars that Buster could slip through. And then I saw it, a tree that grew too close to the fence and had several branches extending through and above it. I assumed the gate would be supernaturally locked, so this was my exit. Buster didn't need any prodding. He waited patiently for me on the other side.
Why is it supernaturally locked?
Because there's a ghost that is locking the doors and writing messages all over his walls.
What if it's not a ghost? What if it's Jerry?
It's a ghost.
From accounting.
Oh yeah, Jerry from accounting.
It's a ghost. Jerry's not from accounting.
That sounds familiar. What is that?
Shut up. He waited patiently for me on the other side as I painfully pulled myself up and over the fence. I was suddenly aware of how weak and tired my recent lifestyle had made me. When I was in the process of climbing down the tree on the other side, Buster growled once and then took off like a shot towards a nearby hill. I jumped down and gave chase. He disappeared over the top, and I scrambled to keep up on the surprisingly steep surface. Luckily, I found where someone had laid some stone bricks into the side for an easier way up. It was still steep enough that I had to focus on placing my feet correctly to keep from sliding, so I was looking down when my next reach up resulted in my hand grabbing carpet. Confused, I look up to see the second floor landing. I looked down to see the rest of the stairs that led to the entrance hall and living room of the house. Buster was nowhere to be found. So, did you pay attention to this last part?
Yeah. So the fence was Superman locked.
So the ghost locked the fence. He
Right.
climbed a tree to get over the fence. Jumped over the fence. He was running up a hill with
How big
Buster.
was the tree?
It's big enough to get over the fence. So he's running up the
How big
street
was the fence?
to get over.
Where on the
So he's
same
climbing
driveway?
up this hill behind the house.
Uh-huh.
Right? It's like an outside hill. He's climbing up the hill, and then suddenly he's back at home climbing up the stairs.
Why is he suddenly?
Because I don't know. The ghost brought him back home for
Oh,
some reason.
I thought it was like, all right, now we cut from this scene to this scene.
No, it like just happened.
Okay.
Confused, I looked up to see the second floor landing. I looked down to see the rest of the stairs that led to the entrance hall and living room of the house. Buster was nowhere to be found. Demoralized and dead tired, I crawled the final steps and just sat on the landing for a while, occasionally calling for Buster. Eventually the kitchen phone rang. Whatever ghosts were messing with me, I realized they couldn't stop outside forces from helping. I tumbled down the stairs in my haste and landed hard on the cold tiles, but I was only dazed for a second and soon was in the kitchen with the phone in my hand. My wife's warm voice filled me with hope. She was concerned that she hadn't heard from me in a while. I couldn't recall the last time I had even tried. She was trying to tell me that my work hadn't heard from me in a week while I tried to tell her to call the police. Her words gave me pause though. I asked, "What do you mean? I was given the week off." "Dear, I thought you were supposed to continue working as soon as you got there." Yeah, but they gave me a week off because of all the stress I've been under." "Wait a second, how long have I been out here?" "Honey, you've been gone almost 9 days now." My stomach sunk, but I didn't hesitate to say, "Listen, I think you need to call the cops. Something is wrong. I think I'm having a medical emergency."
He shit himself. No, that reminds me. So in the movie Smile, right? There's this one scene where she has this therapist that shows up. Therapist like sits down, she's like talking to her and stuff, and they're like sitting across from each other in the couch at the lady's house, right? And then the phone rings, and it's the therapist. And she's like, "Hi, how are you?" And then she like looks up at the therapist, and she's like, and then she looks up at the person sitting across from her, the therapist, and she's like smiling evilly, and it's the demon.
Spooky.
Yeah, that's a good movie. I liked it.
I had just been trying to come up
Remember
with
the
an
word
excuse
mustache.
to limit the amount of following up questions, but I ended up realizing that this was actually the most likely explanation. Maybe I was just suffering from a gas leak or brain tumor. Ironically, either of those options seemed preferable than living in a house that was haunted. My wife asked, "Baby, what's wrong? Are you okay?"
Did you say brain leak or gas tumor?
What?
Switch two of the words in those sentences.
Oh, okay. No, gas leak and brain. Okay.
What?
That's what I heard.
Gas
I was
leak, brain tumor. Got it?
Yeah.
So he thinks he's crazy. My wife asked, "Baby, what's wrong? Are you okay?" I thought I saw a shadow move out of the corner of my eye as I answered, "Yes, I'm okay, but no, I need help. There's something wrong about this house. You aren't making any sense. Just listen to me. Call the police and tell him my uncle's name. Tell them to come to this house and an ambulance might be needed. Please help me. Please help you. Pretty please with a cherry on top."
What?
I stared at the phone in my hand as my wife's voice continued to come out of it. It sounded like her, but in a mocking tone I've never actually heard from her before. She said, "Does your tummy hurt? When's the last time you ate? I wonder what Buster tastes like."
I'd say probably like some, orange chicken. Antoine!
What?
Put your fucking phone away. Jesus.
Some brain leak.
No, his wife is the demon, and I predicted it, and then she's like, "How does Buster taste like?"
Basically, she's making fun of him. She's on the phone with his wife.
"Homie, how does Buster taste like, homie?"
I slammed the phone down, but whatever it was on the other side was right. My stomach was hurting. I couldn't remember the last
Did
time
he
I had
eat Buster?
eaten. No. On cue, I heard Buster whining from upstairs. Only after I started running towards the stairs did I notice just how bruised and sore my legs were from my spill down those steps. I pushed through the pain and climbed the stairs yet again. Buster was back in the front of the bathroom, lying on his side, and looked thinner than I have ever seen him. "Losing your mind" was written all over the hallway now, including on the ceiling and floor. I no longer had any doubt the messages were written in blood. Some of them were still dripping. I walked over and picked up Buster while a banging started at my front door. I would have jumped if Buster hadn't been weighing me down. I heard the front door open, and whoever it was identified themselves as the police. I even recognized the voice as belonging to the one of the officers who had visited previously. Why can't I remember his name? After calling out that I was upstairs, I turned with Buster and found the hallway stretched before me, many times its original length. Despite how thin he looked, Buster felt heavier than ever. I knew this was all just some sort of trick to not get me in touch with the police officer. I thought I must have really been talking to my wife. She had to have come through with calling the police, and the ghost just distorted the end of the call. So I started my trek back to the stairs and shuffled my feet as fast as I could, yelling all the way. And then a voice answered the police officer. A woman's voice, my wife's voice. I could hear her say, "I'm sorry, my husband wasn't feeling well. He's resting in the bedroom. Can I help you?" I screamed as loud as I could to get attention, but it was no use. I heard the officer say, "I'd like to check up on him all the same." Sure, come in. He's right through here." It was right out of a nightmare. I was sweating profusely while every step seemed to get me nowhere. I tried to speed up, but the hallway just stretched further. And then I heard a man's blood-curdling scream from downstairs. Suddenly, the hallway snapped back, and I found myself somehow right at the top of the stairs. My momentum couldn't be stopped. I fell down the stairs and landed hard, on top of Buster.
No!
That hard.
He howled in pain, but at least he was alive. I saw a long, thick trail of blood go around the corner and under my closed
Is
bedroom
Buster
door.
dead?
No. There was still a shadow of something under the door. I painfully crept to the kitchen and grabbed my trusty frying pan before making my way back to the bedroom door.
It's time to be scrambled, ghost. Over
Better
to you.
scramble like an egg before you get folded like an omelet.
Consider yourself yoked. Bang!
I made my way back to the bedroom door as quietly as I could. My eyes watched the moving
I'm gonna
shadows
solidify your
nervously.
insides.
Whatever was waiting there had killed a man. That meant it could kill me. But if it could have a physical impact, then surely it could be susceptible to a physical impact too. So I raised the frying pan and slowly started to turn the handle. Before I made much progress, the door flew open on its own and something turned suddenly to me. I swung my frying pan down. The cop stood before me, a smile frozen on his face. We both looked down at the knife I plunged into his chest. His hand was still wrapped around the handle. He fell to the side and fell backwards to sit heavily on the now clean floor. I was positive I had picked up the frying pan. I could remember its weight. But now I also remembered going to the kitchen and pulling out the knife. I seriously wondered if I was losing my mind. I looked down to find I had the knife in my hands again. I dropped it at once and crawled back to check on Buster. He wasn't moving. I put my head on his flank and was devastated to feel he was still warm but not breathing. I didn't know what to do, so I did nothing. I did nothing for a long time. I was lethargic, but somehow I made it to the couch in the living room. I waited there until nightfall and slept on the couch. When I woke up, I waited some more. I wasn't sure what I was waiting for, but nothing horrible was happening to me while I waited. I wasn't in a hurry to change that. But the bodies of Buster and the cop were still there. I needed to do something. My stomach rumbled as I finally got to the couch. First things first, I found a shovel in an outdoor closet attached to the backyard porch. Digging the hole was exhausting, so I settled for just burying Buster now. I planned on getting to the cop after finding something to eat. I picked up Buster and carried him outside. His fur was still so warm. It was hard to believe he was gone, but there was no light behind his big brown eyes.
He is dead?
I gently laid him down in the hole and got to work. Sometime later, I wandered into the kitchen and raided the pantry. The house was quiet apart from my efforts. Whenever I stopped moving, the silence was complete. I wondered if the ghosts had just been trying to make me a murderer after all. Now that their goal had been met, maybe they would leave me alone for a while. Just in time, because I was starving and didn't need any more distractions. I opened a box of cereal and had a handful put to my lips when I paused. How could I tell if I was actually eating what I was looking at? What if I had actually been opening a box of rat poison? I still wasn't sure that what these ghosts were capable of. I imagining the food turning into worms after it was already in my mouth. With that thought, I threw the cereal to the ground and stomped off, no longer in a hurry. I needed to concentrate on my efforts on leaving this place. Right on cue, I walked by the front door. It was wide open. Instinctively, I made a leap for it before stopping with my outstretched hand just a foot short of the door. This had to be another trick. I could see the door slamming shut in my face, or even taking a few of my fingers with it. I could feel a breeze enter the house, but I was too scared to move. This was the most impossible situation I had ever been in or heard of. All my senses had failed me before. However, my need for freedom eventually caused my feet to move. Upon slowly exiting the house, I saw the cop car just sitting in my driveway. The door was unlocked and the keys were sitting in the front seat. My mind went wild trying to explain the situation. Maybe the cop was secretly a murderer and had killed previous owners of this house. Maybe his sacrifice helped them move on. Couldn't think of any other explanation for my good luck at the time, so I just pushed my misgivings down and got in. I drove out of the neighborhood without incident, but I had new problems. I was in an unfamiliar city, driving a cop car with no money or other belongings on me, and I had no idea what to do next. Okay, so before we keep going, give me a synopsis of what's happened.
So he gets to this house and he's like, "Damn, my dog's dead." Wait, no. His grandpa.
His uncle died.
Uncle
so
died.
His uncle died and passed the house
So
on
he's
to
really sad
him.
about his uncle, and he goes to a house,
His uncle lived there.
and then he walks and he turns around, his dog's like gone. He's like, "Where's my net? Where's my net hund?" And then he looks around for the dog, goes upstairs, finds the dog in the bathroom, and bloody goopy on the water, on the ground.
floor.
Yeah.
And then the
What else
same
was on the
dog
wall?
guy. What?
What was on the wall?
Oh, the text that said like, we are not your.
Are you going crazy?
Yeah.
Or in something
We
like
were
that?
trying to get a hold of you for your car's extended warranty.
What was I talking about? Oh, then he tries to run, he gets teleported back to the stairs. But there's an old lady somewhere in there.
This all happens at some point, yes. So the big things you need to remember are that he tried to escape with Buster,
Yeah,
but it
he's stuck at the
teleported
house.
him back. He's stuck at the house. There's been these messages everywhere saying, I think like, "Are you going crazy?" or something like
going
that.
Crazy.
He killed the cop, and he buried Buster, right? I think that's...
So wait, the dog did die. Oh, that's a cop? The cop died?
Yes. So remember when the leaky stuff was in the beginning and he asked the cops to come take a look at it and they were like, "Nah, it's just rusty water, don't worry about it."
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the same cop. They also came later, and his wife, he heard earlier, remember when the hallway got really long?
No.
Okay, well the hallway got really long after he got teleported back, because he heard the cops talking to his wife, who isn't supposed to be there, but she said, "Hey, everything's fine, just go."
And he killed the cop?
And then later he thought he was grabbing the frying pan to think that
suddenly he's got a
whoever was
knife
there
in the
suddenly
cop's
has a
butthole.
knife. Cop appears, he stabs the cop.
So cop is just like, "Hello, sir," with a knife. You aren't going to stab me, are you?
No, he bursts out of a room and then
No,
he stabs him on accident.
No, the cop comes in through the front door.
No, cop comes in, he's looking around, and then he stabs. Anyway,
Sounds like a pretty bad
so
cop.
after killing the cop, he goes to the cop car and he's trying to drive away. Okay?
Okay.
I drove out of the neighborhood without incident, but I had new problems. I was in an unfamiliar city.
You already read that.
Driving a cop car. I know, I read paragraphs again because you two don't pay attention.
I'm
very well.
listening.
I'm listening to...
He's not.
So I kept driving. It felt good to be free of that house. It felt good to see the sun. So I kept driving on and on. Left turn, right turn, left turn, right turn. Ooh, no idea where I'm going. And then I realized I hadn't seen any other cars in the road for some time. Where was everyone? Where was I? The sinking feeling happened again in the pit of my stomach, but also around my whole body. I sunk back into the car seat and then realized I was sitting in an armchair, back in the living room of my uncle's house. My arms were up, like I was still holding on to the steering wheel. I started to cry with frustration as I stood up and screamed. How long had I been sitting there with a stupid grin, moving my arms up and down like a madman?
It's like,
By the way, this is a podcast. They can't see that.
Oh. Well, imagine
everyone
my
listen
arms
to it.
flailing around like
Just
a kraken.
listen to the arms.
look with your ears.
Yeah.
They're listening to my arms. Alright, anyway. So he teleported. He thought he was driving. He teleported back.
He thought he was driving and he teleported back.
Yes.
Yes.
How long had I been sitting there with a stupid grin, moving my arms up and down like a madman? I turned around and saw my work laptop on the dining room table. It was on and glowing at me. I walked over to it and saw that something was already written down in this post.
Keep going.
So he pulled out his laptop. He
No,
saw
his
that something
laptop
was
was
written
already
on it.
there.
I walked over to it and saw that something was already written down in this post. It read, "Lost your mind? Good, now you won't mind losing the rest." Suddenly, my fist felt weighed down. I raised it to find another kitchen knife in my hand. I dropped it immediately. I erased the message and started to type out a request for help. I ignored the screen and just focused on the keys. I kept hitting them wrong, and another message slowly formed. "I'm sorry I've disappointed you all. For the last time, goodbye." I could have screamed again, but I noticed something had changed. I wasn't in the dining room at all. I was in the study. I kept writing and writing and writing, and my own words started to come out. I have sent out emails requesting help. I've posted on the local police department's Facebook for assistance, and I've just tried to keep writing no matter what. This is my latest attempt to keep my sanity. Whenever I've tried to take a break, I find myself in a new room with new horrors descending upon me. Once I opened the study door out to a hellish landscape and almost stepped out into lava. I wasn't sure if it was an illusion, but I didn't even want to have a vision of my feet burning, so I closed the door and resumed writing. I'm not even sure if this is all because of ghosts. I've been doing a lot of thinking lately, and the truth is simply that I have no idea what's going on. As I've gotten over these crazy events, I realized that I can't recall my uncle's name, or what he looked like.
Jorge.
I'm not even sure I had an uncle.
That was Buster.
Buster's the dog.
Oh.
I'm trying to think really hard about how I came here. Did I fly, drive? I can't remember. Have I always been here?
I have a... So you're telling me the grandpa, or the
uncle.
wasn't just on his all fours running around the whole time?
Shia LaBeouf.
It's almost to the end. Just listen.
Okay.
I'm trying to think really hard about how I came here. Did I fly, drive? I can't remember. Have I always been here? Even weirder, I can't remember my realtor's name or even what gender they are. I've met them in person several times. Why don't I know things I should? I can't even remember the name of my daughters or my wife. Am I even a father? Am I even a person? I know I must be because here I am in this small study writing. But now that I think about it, I can't remember who my parents are, what they look like, or anything about my childhood. Now I just remember this house and all the nightmares, waking and otherwise, I've experienced here. I'm feeling a lot like I was back in the cop car. I found a way forward, but I don't really know what to do next. This is not a way to live, and I'm getting more and more tired. I'm so hungry. I'm finding it harder to focus. I keep hearing voices, and they're getting louder. I know if I stop writing, I won't last long, but I'm running out of things to say. My hands are tired. I'm tired. So tired. And he types out the alphabet. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dogs. I need to keep writing, but I don't know what to say anymore. What's my name? I don't know. I'll die if I stop writing. I'll die if I stop working. He just types out a bunch of random gibberish. Dogs. Buster. I miss Buster. I wish I could pet him one last time. But was he ever real? Is anything? I'm so tired, so hungry. I need to focus. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy goodbye. The quick brown I'm sorry jumped over, pointed, you lazy dog, so goodbye. I'm not even joking. I'm quick. I've jumped, did a sap the all last time. Lazy dogs. I'm sorry. Jumped over, disappointed you. Lazy. For the lazy good dogs, goodbye. I'm sorry. I've disappointed you all. For the last time, goodbye. And that's how it ends.
So what happens?
He's just like literally insane.
So basically he was going crazy and none of the ghost stuff happened. He doesn't know. So the uncle was him. He's the uncle. And so he was talking about how he thought he passed on the house, but he was just writing that to keep writing.
What?
Because he wrote this whole story to keep writing because he knew that if he stopped writing, his sanity would go and he would die. So the uncle dying is this guy being there. It's crazy. But I was looking through the subreddit, and afterwards I was going through the comments. There's this one comment here that says, how do I know if this isn't real? This type of thing has to be my worst nightmare. Hashtag Rip Buster. And then the person who posted this full story and wrote this. I'm a good dog. I know I am. I let my human sleep and work, and I only bother him when I must. I wish he fed me more. I wish he took me out more. But he's my human and I love him. If only I could help him. He's not well. He keeps talking to himself, to the walls. I watch him run up and down the stairs. I watch him walk in circles. I watch him try so hard to get right back to where he started. Sometimes he doesn't hear me no matter how much noise I make. I wonder what's wrong with him. Today he fell down the stairs. Then he just opened his bedroom door and fell in front of it too. I'm starting to get really worried about him. He came over and cried while laying his head down on me. I tried to be the best pillow I could for him. Then he dug a hole, bigger than any bone I've ever seen. When he was done, he came in to give me a big hug. This made me very happy, but then he took me outside and laid me in the hole. I'm a good dog, so I stayed right where he put me.
Oh no.
My human started to fill the hole with dirt. I think he lost sight of me again because he kept hitting me with shovelfuls no matter where I tried to stay. I didn't want to mess up what he was doing. Now that I think about it, he must have realized he couldn't take care of me. He was just doing what I did with my bones to save them for later. It made me happy to know that he wanted to save me for later. But because I'm a living, reasonably intelligent creature, I ended up hopping out of the hole before it got too dangerous.
Okay, good.
My human didn't notice and kept shoveling dirt into the hole. I'm not sure what's wrong with him, but it's clear that he needs some space. Until my human feels better, I'll just hang out in these nearby woods, which are stocked with everything I need to live a long, happy life, just in case.
Jesus, I thought he was about to bury that thing alive.
There's a Walmart down here where I can get all my dog food.
Yeah, so good. That's a crazy story.
Wait, so I think the dog didn't die.
So the dog,
He thought the dog died.
He thought the dog died because he was going crazy, and he started to bury the dog, but Buster escaped last minute and was hiding out, waiting for him to feel better.
Okay, so now he's
So
the dog is fine.
It's a lot like the movie Smile. It's all in the person's head.
This movie.
Yeah.
It's all in the person's head because it reminds me of it. It's all in the person's head. No one else can see it. Only that person, and they just start going fucking insane.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
it was a really interesting story to read this for the first time because he was like, it's a really
it's
fun
like,
kind of.
Like Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo.
Don't shine a laser pointer in my eyes.
I was aiming for your forehead.
You could blind me.
All right.
That was kind of the point.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, blinding you.
Well, that was the story.
Alright, why don't we discuss it? What are your thoughts, Morgan, on it?
We kind of just did discuss it.
We're discussing it?
Did you? He thinks it's like Smile. We already
Alright,
discussed
here's what
that
I think
part.
about it. I think that the dog should have... Oh yeah, the dog wasn't... I think the dog is still a hamster mech because the hamster mech was typing on Reddit. That's what he did in the comments.
Typing on Reddit.
Yeah, he used his jetpack to fly out of the hole.
Uh-huh.
And then he went out to his hamster colony in the woods because they have like a whole like base colony where he recharges his mech suit. And gets those hamster muscles up. He does some push-ups, some whatever those things are called where you sit down and go up.
Sit-ups?
Yeah, those things.
Okay, fantastic.
Oh, and then the ghost. So there was no ghost. It was just him being.
It was just him being crazy.
I think the ghost was actually him just being crazy.
Crazy.
Controversial. I think.
Fantastic. All right, well, that's it. Thank you for listening. If you listened up to here,
I think cheeseburgers and hamburgers go well with fries.
Wonderful. We will be back with another one next week.
coleslaw.
These two idiots, one of
Actually,
them.
no, fries are
We're
better.
gonna have some short stories next time.
Do you prefer heat or salt?
Thank you for listening.
Heat?
We'll see you later.
Or salt?
How warm they are, how salty they are.
Oh, salt.